Yes, and I respect the comments made by both of my predecessors at the mic here. I want to remind you that a lot of people come to City Hall to observe government, whether they're there to speak at the public forum or to speak to a particular item or just to monitor what their representatives are doing. They are there because they care about the government of the city and its impact on this community. Those people who have agenda items are assured that their topic is going to be discussed and that they will have an opportunity to raise it. Others have been unable to reach their council person because some of you have phones that are always full of messages and you can't leave a message, or don't have time to return calls. And I'm speaking to everyone, whether they're here or not, because some people who are not here might not recognize their absence both now and on a daily basis is a hindrance to intercommunication with the citizens. We have young people who come to City Council to learn about the government and how it operates, and they sit there through Boyd Forum and understand their rights as young people as they're growing to address their government. When you talk about limiting it, I will point out that you've already halved the time that you used to get from the public, because you used to have 2 meetings twice a month. You would have the opportunity for Boyd Forum before and afterwards. So you've already cut that in half. And from the length of the meetings that you've been having, the attention span factor at the end of the meeting would be less than one to absorb totally new information, I believe. So I would hesitate to have any new concepts be presented at a board forum at the end. I think that's why people have quit coming at the end, not because they don't have things to tell you, but they realize you are oversaturated at that point. So I would encourage you to do everything you can to ensure that the Leroy Boyd Forum, the principle of giving every citizen a free and easy access to you, is preserved. Some people do not have internet access. Some people cannot write coherently. Some people are too timid to say something on a phone or a machine, and we've had some of those individuals in the last few months stand up and speak because they have watched other citizens speak on TV, and they say, I finally decided to come down and speak to you. So please allow that freedom of interaction from your citizens to continue, and keep the half hour at least at the beginning of the meeting, and I would encourage the overflow for afterwards. Thank you.
Committee of the Whole is now in order.
Thank you for allowing us to speak again. This ordinance concerns me for a variety of reasons. First off, I think it is overreaching and far-reaching beyond just the immediacy, which seems to be reflected by the Occupy issue. I believe we had a homeless problem before Occupy brought it to our attention. I believe it continues. But that is not the only thing that I see as a problem with this. Number one, the homeless thing, we need an ad hoc committee to work diligently, expediently, and with every sense of resource that we have to create some solutions, because tents are not the solutions to the homelessness. It is going to be a growing problem because the economy is not bouncing back. As we know, we're in for a 3 to 5 year turnaround at best. So I would really recommend that the council appoint everyone possible who has had any experience, and I will not serve on any of your other committees, but this is one I will serve on, because when I lived in Denver, I ran Capitol Hill Community Center, which was where the homeless community of Denver came when they needed reference. And as was stated earlier, the lack of bed space for the homeless in the shelters is the problem. It also costs them to be in the shelters after a certain period of time. We don't have restrooms, we don't have water fountains, we don't have basic human resources for anyone who does not have a home available for tourists or homeless. That's another place that we need to look at improving the quality of life in our community, which would help assist in the homeless as they move forward. But getting back to the tent ordinance, you're going to preclude Native Americans who might want to host a powwow. You're going to preclude Boy Scouts who might want to host something. You're going to preclude any nature lover groups that want to have things. So you're creating an ordinance that says to everyone, don't come enjoy the very thing that we are so proud of, our environment. We should create a tent park somewhere in Pensacola. Create legal spaces where those who love to tent and who want to be in the outdoors can legally do so. And if people can't afford to pay a fee, let's create a work situation. Set up a food garden, and if you go and hoe for 2 hours, you can pitch your tent in one of our spaces. I mean, get creative in how we facilitate these solutions. These people who are in need of a place for their tent are willing to work. They come all the time knocking on my door to ask, Ms. Dubuisson, do you need your yard rake? You know, do you need any work done? Can I wash your car? They are looking for ways to get money. But no one has money to just throw out these days. So I would really encourage council to look at creating opportunities for short-term bartering for those who are in a bind, look at long-term solutions for those who are in chronic situations that we can somehow support, respect our veterans. Let's work with the federal government, with all the federal buildings. I'm sorry.
Just stick to the ordinance, though. Right now.
Okay, the tent ordinance as it is, to me, will not solve the problem, and it is far overreaching. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Charges, second reading. I do want to remind council. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, council. Dottie Dubuisson, 1308 North Barcelona. I speak to you this evening not because I couldn't afford to pay the gas increase, because honestly, I don't pay for gas. I have the privilege of living in a housing situation where my gas is provided by the household that I'm a part of. So this will not directly impact me. However, I daily am met by people who can't buy a 49-cent cup of coffee at McDonald's, who cannot provide for the basic money it will take them to get to a food bank, to individuals who are trying to hold on to a family home, who are having trouble making their $139 a month payment, by renters who are scared to death that their landlord is going to kick them out because they can't take a $10 a month income, because they are on fixed and very low income. The opportunity for them to raise their incomes currently is not highly probable due to the economic situation and conditions of growth in our community, which we're all working on. And I salute you for everything that you've done in an attempt to build a better community. However, in trying to support campaign promises, this council made a decision to lower tax rates on the very people who appear to have the most capability of providing for their own needs. And in the process of doing that, they wouldn't even have had to pay the full amount that was out, because they could have offset that payment by a tax deduction on their federal income taxes. So you basically said to them, because you voted for me and voted to put this entity that we're calling the current administration into position, we're going to honor what we said we'd try to do to you and lower income tax, lower property taxes. But to the rest of the citizens, many of whom voted to put this same administration into office, you're saying, tough luck. We haven't managed our money well. We're going to take the profits that you have generated through the enterprise of ESP, and we're going to use them to offset the budget needs for our plans. I'm not condemning the mayor. I'm not condemning his administration. I'm not condemning any of you who chose to support any of these decisions. What I'm asking you to do is take a look a little closer at what you're currently doing to the average citizen. And if you count the numbers, and if you look at the statistics from United Way and from every food pantry and from every church support organization, it is a growing number of citizens, and it's going to be larger. The offsetting difference that you are doing is going to handicap these individuals. Additionally, I believe we will see more fires, as individuals who cannot afford to use gas to light their homes will be burning candles, paper fires, or in any way that they can choose to create heat in their home. I also believe that we'll probably see a loss of population as individuals choose to leave Pensacola because they cannot sustain their current households. It's a sad situation that we're in economically throughout the globe. Pensacola has a chance to make a little bit of difference by saying to the lowest end of the community, we are hearing your need and we're going to do what we can to make it a little easier. Please look at how you can scrimp anything out of the rest of the budget and try to leave ESP as whole as you can and the prices as low as you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dottie Dubuisson.
Good evening, Council, and thank you for listening to your citizens tonight. Several of the speakers have given a lot of the information that I would have shared with you, but I just want to remind you, it was a flawed process. You saw that. You rejected the recommendation of the flawed process. You then rejected accepting DiVerona as the bid recipient, and so the RFP was ended. You took action, and the mayor has vetoed your action. You have the chance to correct that veto by continuing to override it with a vote in support of the action which you have determined. Your action is legal. The mayor's secondary contracting that he did without regard and without reporting to you in advance was illegal according to the charter. And I would remind you, he and his airport director stood here and said OHM was not a part of the contingency plan. So either there was another contingency plan, which you folks have not been made aware of, or you were misled again. I would ask every council person to stand in support of your role, reaffirm the legislative role which you accepted on the part of this city, and vote to override the veto. Thank you.
Yes, I want to clarify, the agenda item stated that this was for the west side redevelopment, so any discussion about any of the rest of it is really probably inappropriate. And had we known that the urban core CRA would have been discussed, I'm certain that a lot of the neighborhood members from at least the western side of the urban core of the CRA would have been there, because we have put forward a proposal under the Restore Act to get this very thing accomplished in the Belmont de Villiers neighborhood. We are number 22 in the rankings right now, and we'll be making a 3-minute presentation on Wednesday. So if we're not at your meeting, it may be because we're still trying to convince the county committee to look at it. But we have been having neighborhood meetings with both the CRA and the planning board because of issues that have come up. And you can just drive a few blocks over and see 3 examples of infill housing and how our conversations with the developer has taken it from a faux stucco on the ground building to an 18-inch above the ground pitch of roof that looks similar to some of the historical buildings that were there before, gone from no front porch to an 8-foot front porch. There are just some concepts that harken back to the character of the neighborhood that we have been able to encourage by conversation. And as Ms. Gibson said, if those are incorporated, no one wants an ARB. That was real clear in our recent meeting. No one wants to have to go and have fuchsia or purple or pink, decided by someone else. But there are some things that impact all of us in the walkability, the visual environment, as well as the stormwater retention issues that we have there. So I would encourage you to look at a future time as doing this and to separate the various neighborhoods, because there are different architectural styles in each neighborhood, and I think you owe that to them. But I also would appreciate if this CRA, I will be bringing it up into the public forum, would consider endorsing our proposal, because we have scored very highly, and we're very proud of the fact that they have moved us from 34th, which was our original ranking, up to 22nd, and having a letter of support from the CRA in funding $450,000 worth of planning monies that would come directly to you, because we actually kind of figured that the money would come to the city or the CRA as the fiduciary agent. We would hope that you would be the ones who would apply for it, that, we would be bringing monies to you to help answer the problem that's there. So I would ask you to look at this as closely as you can. I realize that Wednesday is close and you may not want to entertain a motion today to support us, but we would certainly hope that you would. Thank you.
Thank you.